Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Scorbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. So it's time for Taroscopes again. I'm going to be doing the Taroscopes for the water signs, and we're going to be doing the sign of Scorpio. Of course, Scorpio is a fixed water sign. Scorpio has quite the rep in astrology. Scorpio is a sign, it's a relationship sign, actually. There are two relationship signs in astrology. One is Scorpio and one is Libra. In Libra, we think about it, we have legal contracts for relationship, but it's when you get to Scorpio where the rubber meets the road. That's when we actually share our physical selves, our bodies, our bodily fluids, and also our money, which can be a source of challenge, as it were. Of course, we're in October now, the 10th month, just the month of October, the vibration of the month of October is a change. It's a change. And of course, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we definitely see from the beginning of October to the end of October, a big change in the season. We see the green, the chlorophyll of the trees start to abate. It's no longer creating fuel that way, and so the leaves are no longer needed and they start to change colors, and we have the beautiful colors of the fall. If you're in the southern hemisphere, then you're starting with this season of spring, and so the new beginnings of spring. Also 10, right? New beginnings. This is your month, right, Scorpio? The sun goes into Scorpio at the end of the month. Most of the month it's in Libra, but it does move into Scorpio. And we do have at the end of the month a new moon in Scorpio, which is actually an eclipse. It's part of the eclipse series that starts on the 25th, I think. Excuse me, I will look. The 25th. The new moon in Scorpio at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So right at the beginning, we do have a full moon in Aries that happens in October. That happens on the 9th of October. And of course, the new moon eclipse is part of an eclipse series where the full moon is occurring on the day of the midterm. So we can expect a lot of fuss in October. So let's take a look. We'll look at the cards. I'm going to be using the fountain deck for you. Let me just grab it here. And very often a deck I use for air signs. I feel a real resonance with the air signs with this deck. And I usually go heavy with the Scorpio readings. You know, the Crow Tarot, the Thoth deck, but right, it doesn't matter. We're going to get the message that we need to hear. And I thought, let's go nice and light with Scorpio this month. So I'm going to shuffle up. I do shuffle until it feels right to me. These feel pretty shuffled already, so it shouldn't take too long. I believe, does your ruler go direct in October? Let me just take a look. No, not yet. I think maybe it's November. Oh no, your ruler, Pluto. You have co-rulers, Scorpio. You have Mars and you have Pluto. Now Mars is in Gemini and will be in Gemini until March of 2023. So you're probably more vocal and verbal than you normally are. Scorpios tend to like keep things to themselves because they don't want to show their hand, so to speak. But you might find yourself a little bit more talkative, or certainly you'll write it down, right? You'll write it down. But your ruler, Pluto, goes direct on the 8th of October. So that will feel like things are moving forward for you a little bit more than maybe they have. It has been challenging times that we live in. All right, so let's take a look and see what the tarot cards have to say. All right. One more shuffle, and then we'll be good. We'll be golden. Okay. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wear my obsidian bracelet. And this is Apache Tears. Obsidian is a good stone for Scorpio. It's protective, and it helps us move through our shit. Literally and probably, figuratively, certainly, and perhaps literally as well. All right. It feels good. Let's just cut them. Okay, let's see what's up for Scorpio for the month. Now that I have my obsidian on. The Two of Cups, happiness, happiness. This is interesting because in this deck, see the cups are way up in the air, way up in the air. So there's always with this vibration. This is the 42-6 vibration with the system I use, the Two of Cups. There's really high expectations around relationships with this, sometimes too high. Sometimes you see relationship sort of on a more spiritual level, and most people can't really reach the spiritual level of emotions. I mean, they have enough trouble just like in the lower realms of emotion. But this card is about like the highest expression of love, compassion, love, overcoming your carnal side and bringing that energy, that Kundalini energy, up into the third eye. That's where the Two of Cups is located, in the third eye. Let's see the challenge to that. The Eight of Swords. You have to be very careful about what you say. You have to use your intuition to get out of a sticky situation. Interestingly, this would be a reading for Joe Biden because he is a Scorpio. And so I think we can see that in his aspirational view that we can get together. He has a very sort of aspirational view of people, faith in people, faith in the common man, I think. But he has to be very careful about what he says, because everything he says is dissected, right? And so you may feel that way. You may feel like everything you say is dissected, that if you say the wrong thing, somebody's going to slit your throat. Okay, so, which is interesting because I just said with Gemini, with Mars and Gemini, maybe talking more. So if you are, you still have to be careful about what you're saying. People are listening. At the root, we have the Hermit. So you've been in a time of perhaps introspection. The Hermit it's a card of introspection. It's also a card of being alone and having to really climb the mountain to get the perspective and the wisdom that you need. But now it's time for you to shine the light of that wisdom. The Hermit isn't just about hermiting away, but it's about shining the light, knowing what you know. And perhaps that's what you need to be careful of, the way you say it to people, because people are not in a great place. Most people are not in a great place. In the past, we have the Nine of Pentacles. This is you in your garden, feeling secure, the self-made person. If you have anything, Scorpio, it's because of your own hard work. And that's indicated in that card. In the sky, ooh, we have the Empress, the Empress. This is abundance. This is creative imagination. This is the goddess. This is the mother goddess. This is Mother Earth. She is responding to you. She is there. Abundance is all around you. All around you. In the immediate future, we have the Four of Cups. So there is some feeling of divine discontent. Perhaps you're feeling low energy. Perhaps you're feeling, you might even be in a situation where you are held back from saying what you need to say. Held back from saying what you need to say. But there's a safety in that. There's a safety in that. This is asylum. This is seeking asylum. So if you need asylum, you will get asylum. How it's seen from the outside, endings. It's a big ending. Something is done for you, done as an over. But it also means the new beginnings. Nothing ends without beginning again. It's the nature of our lives, really. Your domestic situation, we have the judgment card, making a decision. So you're going to have to make a big decision. This is the card of the awakened soul. It's about waking up and feeling like you're um, rising from the dead. And I kind of like it after this card because it does indicate that even though this is a very harsh card, the Ten of Swords, right past it is rising up from the darkness, rising up from the darkness. Let's see your hopes and fears. The Nine of Wands, you're climbing the mountain. Maybe you're hoping that you're at the top already. This is about being vigilant. This is about being vigilant. Now you're definitely vigilant. I don't know if you're worried about that because that's not something Scorpio needs to worry about. But sometimes you're hyper vigilant, and maybe that's something that needs to be watched for. Watched for. But you know, the higher up on the mountain, the greater the perspective. And remember, I said you're climbing a mountain. It's at the root of the reading. You're climbing the mountain of the Hermit to find the wisdom that lies at the top. And then we have Illumination. Wow, that's a great ending to this reading because it's not a terrible reading, but it's not an easy reading. But of course, you're Scorpio. How often do you get an easy reading, guys? But we have full illumination at the end, full illumination. So that's really positive. It also, the Sun card is also a card that indicates moving in a new direction. So there's definitely things coming to an end for you and a new beginning, and that's all going to happen in October. Let's see what's underneath. We have the Fool, right? New beginnings. There we go again. The Star, which is hope, aspirations, meditation, and the Knight of Cups, which is the knight that's in love with love. There's an innocence to the Knight of Cups. There's a naivete about the Knight of Cups. There's a beauty and a poetry about the Knight of Cups. It can also mean offerings of love for you. So what I want to say is it's almost over. The time of restraint, the time of holding your tongue, the time of not being able to speak is over, almost over. It's going to be over in this month, I think. And then you will rise up. There's all this rebirth energy around you. And honestly, that is what Scorpio is about. It's about death and rebirth. It's about change. It's about letting go and connecting with a greater part of yourself. So just in a day's work for Scorpio. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. If you would like a reading with me, go to my website, theseedsoftransformation.com. There is a link below if you would like a reading, astrology, Kabbalah, numerology. If it's your first time, I would suggest the 90-minute reading. If you've seen me before, an hour should be sufficient, unless there's a lot to talk about. Sometimes there's a lot to talk about. But it's a useful thing to have. It's very useful to understand who you are at a core level. And a lot of people already know who they are, but nobody really sees it. And when the astrologer, the Kabbalist says, oh, this is, wow, you're this, this, and this. And the person goes, I am. Nobody knows it. But that's who you are. And I know it. All right, guys, have a wonderful month and take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. It's not going to get any less crazy, but you don't have to participate in the craziness. It's always a choice. Take care, everyone. Namaste.